Okay, so now in this lecture we are going to discuss para 4 and 5 of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu Bindu. Now in this para 4 and 5, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has discussed the 64 limbs of devotion. 64 limbs of devotion. Now previous lecture we discussed, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur discussed the steps of devotion, right from faith to love of God. Faith, then sadhu sang, bhajana kriya, anartha nivritti, nishtha, ruchi, asakti, bhav, prem. Now he discusses the limbs of devotion. The limbs or 64 angas of devotion, which are mentioned in Bhara Puran, and he directly takes this section from Rupa Goswami's Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. But why he does that? That's the whole question there. Why is discussing 64 now angas, and he is trying to make a point now. And the point is, first he discusses 64 angas, and he says this, see, 64 angas of devotion are 59 plus 5. 59 angas are there first, and the limbs of devotion are, the first limb is Krishna Guru Padashray. For example, the first limb is Guru Padashray, take shelter of Guru. Second limb is take Diksha from him, Shri Krishna Diksha Shiksha Adi, and then take Shiksha, and then learn how to worship deities. And then there are various rules and regulations. These are 64 rules and regulations, by the way. That's what he's mentioning. So the first rule is take shelter of Guru, and Vishwanath Thakur is making a point here that that Diksha Purvakam Shikshanam iti artha, and he doesn't fail to mention this point, that first you have to take Diksha and then Shiksha. Don't reverse it. Don't first take Shiksha or instructions and then take initiation. You can take instructions, you can learn, you can people who don't take initiation, they might be listening to lectures and they can learn so many things, but real instructions begin after initiation. Why? Because initiation means commitment to Krishna. Initiation means, Vishwanath Thakur says, initiation means that now you are serious, and by initiation you get connection with Krishna and you become qualified to attain mercy of Krishna. Before initiation, no matter how much you follow, you will not get mercy of Krishna and you can't attain Krishna. So initiation is a very important process in devotion, in the starting of devotional service. Vishwanath Thakur doesn't fail to mention this. Why? Because again I told, he is cancelling Sahajism. He is cancelling those people who say there is no need of initiation, just come to Vrindavan, do bhajan and you can advance. No, you have to take proper initiation, Guru Padashray and Diksha. So because that shows that you are committed to the process and you become linked with Krishna. Diksha kale shishya kare atma samarpan, tar kale Krishna kare, sahi kale Krishna kare tar atma sam. You get connection with the parampara. Okay, now this is okay, we all know this. And then 59 rules and regulations, then last 5 rules and regulations Vishwanath Thakur mentions. And the most important rules and regulations, he says even if you can't do this 59, at least you do this 5. What are those 5? He says Murti Seva Kaushalam, worshipping deities. Not just worshipping deities, but Kaushalam, you should learn the art of serving deities. Very important. Vishwanath Thakur introduces his word Kaushalam, which Rupa Goswami doesn't say. Vishwanath Thakur has its insight, Kaushalam, the art of serving deities, that you should learn. Which also, in the art of serving deities, all 59, most of the rules and regulations which are previously mentioned, that is included here. Because when you're serving deities, you should know how to sit in front of deities, how to do tulsi, how to do arti. So Vishwanath Thakur, Rupa Goswami doesn't negate all those 59 rules and regulations. This includes that. And the second is Rasikai se Bhagavatasvadan. Relish Srimad Bhagavatam. with people, relish Srimad Bhagavatam with devotees who are interested in Srimad Bhagavatam. And then Sajatiya Snigdha Sadhu Sang, take association of devotees who are very serious in devotion. Nam Sankirtanam, chant holy names. And Vaishnav and Vrindavan Vas, stay in Vrindavan. If you can't stay physically, Vishwanath Thakur says, if you can't stay physically, stay in your mind. Doesn't make a difference. Because some people are staying physically, but they are not with their mind present in Vrindavan. They are in Bombay or Delhi. What's the use? But this is not the point which Vishwanath Thakur is making in this. He is trying to lead us somewhere. After this, he says, he immediately brings the point of Seva Nama Prad. He says, okay, you are following all these rules and regulations, you are doing Seva, but avoid offenses. Seva Nama Prad. There are offenses in serving the deities, Murti. Avoid them. And then he lists all those Seva Nama Prad. And he takes this from Rupa Goswami, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. But then he immediately comes to Nama Prad. Okay, no, but okay, fine. So we are discussing 4th and 5th and 6th verse also here. Paragraph 4, paragraph 5, paragraph 6. So immediately he quotes 2 verses from Rupa Goswami after discussing Seva Nama Prad. And he chooses those verses. And why he does that, I'll tell you. Now this verse is us. Now he says in this, Sarva Prada Kritapi Muchyate Hari Samshraya. He says, even if you are doing all these offenses what I have listed here, 59 plus 5, if you are following all the rules and regulations, and you are doing all the offenses Seva Aprad, still Hare Rapi Apradhan, still by taking shelter of Krishna, all these offenses can be destroyed. But if you are doing offenses against Krishna, then just by chanting the names of Krishna, all the offenses against Krishna are destroyed. But if you are doing offenses against holy names, Namno api sarva suhirdo, ya pradhat patatoda. If you are doing offenses against holy name, you will fall down. Now, this is 1.2.119 and 120, 2 verses. Beautiful verses which Vishwanath Thakur has chosen. He is saying if you are doing offenses in Seva, those offenses can be destroyed by taking shelter of Krishna, by doing his bhakti. You keep on doing his bhakti, offenses will be liquefied. But if you are doing offenses against Krishna, by thinking some nonsense things about Krishna or something, or if you are doing offenses, so then what happens is that can be destroyed by taking holy names, by chanting Hare Krishna. But if you are doing offenses against holy names, then you will fall down. There is no way. So he is trying to bring the point that ultimately all these things, all rules and regulations, all seva, aparadha and everything we are doing for chanting holy names. That's the primary thing. You see, Vishwanath Thakur is trying to bring us. But then he is making the point, if you do offenses against holy names, you will fall down. So what it comes to, avoid nama aparadha. If you really want to advance in devotion, avoid offenses against holy name. And he lists nama aparadha here. The 10 nama aparadha which are there in Padma Puran, he lists that. So what is trying to convey ultimately? He is trying to convey a point that he is trying to cancel all these sahijyas who say, okay, keep on chanting, keep on doing service and you will advance. No, Vishwanath Thakur is saying no. If you have a boat, Bhakti Sandhya Thakur gives the example. If you have a boat and you are rowing the boat very nicely, whole night you are rowing the boat, but in the morning you see the boat is on the same place, and what's the problem? Problem is you forgot to untie the boat from the anvil, from the dock. You were trying, but it was just going here and there, round and round, and because it was tied to a pole. So that's the whole point. Vishwanath Thakur is saying, making a point that even if you are following everything, if you're not trying to avoid offenses against holy name, you will not advance no matter how much expert you are doing everything. That's the whole point. And by this, he is attacking Sahajiyas who don't focus on avoiding offenses against holy names. All these upper sampradayas in Bengal, Aula, Baula, they don't talk about offenses against holy name. They say, oh, once chanting holy names will liberate you. What about offenses? They don't talk. But Vishwanath Thakur is making a point, no, that's the most important thing. You can learn chanting, you can learn doing deity worship, you can learn doing so many things. You can read Bhagavatam, but if you don't avoid offenses against holy names, you will go down. So Nam Aprad, that's the central thing. This is a theme which Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Bhakti Vinod Thakur brought up in Bengal when they were confronted by Upper Sampradaya people. And these people from Upper Sampradaya, they were chanting, they were doing their own things. But Bhakti Siddhanta, he said, hey look, you will not advance. Even though you are chanting 3 lakh names in Vrindavan, sitting, reading Bhagavatam whole day, but you will not advance. Bhakti Siddhanta said they are all neophytes because they don't want to avoid offenses. So they are tied up. No matter how much expert they are rowing the boat will not go forward. And that's where Vishwanath Thakur ends his 6th paragraph, his whole 4th, 5th, 6th paragraph, and he's making a theme there to actually help us understand why Rupa Goswami has put all these things like that, Seva Aparadh, 64 Angas, Seva Aparadh, Nama Aparadh, and he's trying to bring us to that point. Avoid, there is something positive, something negative. You do positive things, but also focus on removing negative things. That's very important. And then we'll advance nicely. That's the beauty of Vishwanath Thakur, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu Bindu. He is choosing various parts from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, putting that, compiling them, and making a theme and bringing us to a particular point to help us see the importance of that particular aspect of devotion. In this particular case, avoiding Nama Aparadh. If you keep on doing offenses against holy name, all other things which we have discussed, 64 rules and regulations, Seva Aparadh and all those, it just gets cancelled. That's how important this is. And that's the beauty of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu Bindu. Hare Krishna, 𝗙cie𝗹𝗶𝘀𝘁.